Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana, and as you can tell by the title, I am drawing Mac Miller. Now for this specific drawing, I actually did something a little bit different than my other videos, and also a little bit different than what I've seen other YouTubers do. I actually showed my sketching process for this one, and I think there's actually a reason for why other YouTubers don't show their sketching process, and it's because it's highly controversial. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that and debunk some of the myths. So for this specific drawing, I went ahead and I used the grid method. The grid method is one that a lot of us artists learn at a very young age when we're just starting out and want to learn how to draw. Now the reason the grid method is so great is because it does work your observational skills as well as it allows you to create pretty accurate drawings. Now, a reason a lot of people hate on it is because they may mistaken it for tracing, when in actuality it is very different because you are actually doing all of the movements yourself. The grid only helps create like a roadmap or a baseline for which you can follow in order to create accurate drawings. So for this reason, I went ahead and used the grid method here just because I think it is the quickest way of getting a sketch down on paper, making sure that it's going to look good in the end, and this way I can make more videos faster. So the preferred method that I usually use is one where I just freehand the whole entire thing. Obviously this is not going to look great in the beginning, but I'm definitely working my observational skills more than I am with the grid method. So I start by freehanding the whole thing. I am using a reference photo, and then I will take a photo of my sketch. Once I'm done with that sketch, I'll then upload it to an app like PixArt, and I'll overlay it on top of my original reference photo. Then I'll go ahead and drop the opacity, and there I can kind of compare the two and see where I need to make changes. Now this process is great, but it can also take a very long time because it can become super iterative, and it really just depends on how accurate you want your drawing to be in the end. However, I did use this method to create the Harry Styles drawing and the Timothy Chalamet drawing that I did earlier on this channel. So that's just another great way of doing it if you want to work more on your creativity and being able to freehand things at any time. Now, the last method that I can think of is tracing. Now, tracing has become a lot more popular recently with the introduction of the iPad as well as Procreate, and it is the method that is most frowned upon. However, I will say that there is a time and a place to use it. I think tracing is very handy to use when you are just learning and you're trying to focus on a specific skill that is not sketching. So you're doing something for informational purposes as opposed for like a commission or in order to sell in the end. So for instance, your main focus here is to learn how to shade, or your main focus is to learn how to mix colors. Well, okay, in that case, tracing is fine because you just need the base down so then you can focus on the technical skill. Another way that tracing can actually be super helpful is, let's say you're an animator and you're trying to create the same character over and over again. You've already created him once, you might as well should just trace him again and then just make the appropriate changes you need to do in order to create that new character, that new expression, whatever it may be. In these cases, tracing is perfectly acceptable and a fine way to use it. The way that I can see tracing to actually become hurtful is when the artist solely uses that form of sketching, because now they are reliant on something else in order to make sure that their drawings are accurate and looking good. This is just going to stunt their growth in the long run because they don't really have the observational skills they need in order to then go on their own and create the creative works that they want to create. So while tracing is good every now and then, I don't think it should become a crutch for artists, because in the end it's just going to hurt them and they're not going to grow as well as they would if they were using the grid method or simply freehanding it. I just kind of wanted to debunk some of those myths that are highly controversial and just kind of share my opinion on it. So recently, a subscriber brought something to my attention that I found to be very interesting. So she was talking to me about how she finds that a lot of people aren't really doing pencil art anymore. And I see that in everyday life as well. Just like on TikTok or social media, you see a lot of the artists that are getting the most attention tend to be painters or colored pencil artists, anything that involves color. which I totally understand. I am so guilty of this as well. Just because as humans, we are drawn to color. I mean, we see the world in colors. But because of that, a lot of graphite artists are actually slept on. And I'm not just saying that because I enjoy pencil art. I'm saying this because it's such an underrated medium. A lot of people who are on social media watching these artists tend to be beginners and are just starting in their art journey. And so why not get into pencil art? Because it is the cheapest medium that you can start with. I mean, all you really need is a pencil and an eraser. I know that I have a bunch of tools here, but these are things that I've bought over the years. And honestly, I don't really need all of them in order to create a great portrait. Not only that, but pencil art is fantastic for learning the fundamentals because now you don't have color to worry about. I mean, color is almost a distraction when you're just learning because there's so much that goes into color theory and learning how to mix colors. So if you don't have to worry about that, now you can really learn the foundational skills of any art form. And so this includes learning the differences between lights and darks, learning how to create texture with your pencil, as well as understanding contrast. And by learning these fundamentals, you can then carry over these same skills and apply them to any art medium. And that's why I think graphite art is such a great way for beginning artists to start exploring their own style. Here's how that Mac Miller drawing turned out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!